All right, so we are back on the Weight Concept presented by The Ring Magazine. Today was Misfits 21, and it was, as Misfits cards always are, pure chaos. This was a lot of good, some but for the most part, a great card, and some potential rumblings about what could be next in the influencer boxing scene. Let's talk about the whole event and what I thought the biggest standouts were and why I thought it was a good thing for influencer boxing moving forward. The breakdown. Let's go. That's right, guys. We all know around this time of the year, it's gift shopping time because Father's Day is right around the corner, and Manscaped has you covered with their best grooming gifts in the game, the Beard and Balls Bundle. That's right, Manscaped features the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger as a 2-in-1 gift to look sharp above and below the belt. And speaking of that Lawnmower 5.0, listen at this baby purr. That thing right there is humming like an a cappella quartet, and it's got a beautiful LED light to make sure you stay on track and in the zone when you're cutting around your precious zone. It's got customizable trimming, skin-safe technology to reduce nicks and cuts. It also is waterproof, and this bad boy has a 60-minute runtime lifespan, plus the Beard Hedger has a 75-minute lifespan on one charge. What are we still talking about? Oh, that's right, we're talking about Manscaped, and if you use code WADE15 at manscaped.com, you're gonna get 15% off your entire order, and again, you're gonna wanna check out that Manscaped Beard and Balls Bundle for Father's Day. Once again, that's code WADE15 for 15% off all of your order when you go to manscaped.com and shop right now. So whether it's for the office, a night out, Father's Day, or just a day at home with well-kept grooming, Manscaped has you, your partner, or your dad covered from face to balls. His skin and everybody else will thank you. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. And now, let's get back into the breakdown. All right, so Misfits 21. I didn't do a prediction video on this just because I was traveling so much. I'm sick we sit here right now. I've got something, I'm not sure what, from all the travel. Again, I haven't been home in like 40 days now, but I just didn't have a ton of time. I actually made the video, the prediction video. We just couldn't get it shipped out in time. Hotel Wi-Fi, you guys get it. But coming into this thing, I thought a couple of fights, really 3 fights, caught my eye. Number 1 was Fox and Waleed Sharks. That one I definitely wanted to watch. Number 2 was obviously Idris Virgo and Ty Mitchell because of the crazy stuff said in the presser there. And, you know, that whole situation was just wild. And number 3 was obviously the main event, Darren Till. How did he look? Because if Darren Till wins, as he goes, the potential matchups outside of KSI, because we're going to talk about it, and I feel like I have so many times in this video, you need somebody besides KSI to be your star. Otherwise, Misfits revolves around one guy that, as we learned today, probably is not going to fight for a very long time. I'll talk about that in a separate video, but KSI needs surgery on his hand, and he's going to go and get surgery on his hand. So let's get into the card. One of the biggest surprises on this thing was Dylan Price, 19-0 prospect, 13 knockouts. Misfits signed him specifically because he is a high-level boxing prospect. Gets knocked out in his fight. I think it was a 10-round fight that he was leading in the 7th or 8th round. I would say pretty comfortably. One of the biggest upsets for a prospect that you could probably see at that moment. It was a huge, huge moment. And by no means do I think this is the end of a young prospect's career. You know, part of the reason these upsets are so surprising is because guys are trying to keep their O. Again, I don't know what Mencia's record was, but he looked a lot better than just some journeyman guy in there. But I think Dylan Price will be fine as long as he, you know, figures out what happened and gets back in there. But what a moment for the other guy. Huge, knocking out a 19-0 prospect with 13 knockouts in his own right. And it could have caused chaos because, let's be honest, Misfits signs these guys like Dylan Price and Amir Cashman Anderson because they are prospects and they want to push them. That could have caused a massive ripple effect through the card, but it didn't because the next fight, Amir Anderson absolutely demolished the guy that was talking trash to him at the presser. This kid is for real. He is nasty. He is violent, and he can punch out of both stances. Good defensively, patient, 10-time amateur national champion. He is the real deal. Very excited to see what Wasserman and Misfits do with him, but that was a big-time start to the card. One of your biggest prospects loses, and one of your, probably the biggest prospect Misfits has, does win. And, you know, a little shaky start there, but they're back on track. Then we had, I think it was Joey Knight next, and Joey Knight did well. I thought he boxed Hausen, whatever the guy's name was. I thought he boxed him up pretty easily. Joey styled on him at points, was just, you know, clowning him in the ring. And Hausen did a decent enough job of making Joey respect him toward the end of the fight. You know, he's landing some shots here and there, but it was one-way traffic for Joey, I thought. I think the score was a lot closer than I anticipated, but I thought he won pretty handily. I would like to see him get, you know, a step up in competition. I don't know who that'll be, but, you know, Deen is there. I was going to say W.A.D.E is there, but maybe he needs to be looking at somebody else because of how Fox performed later in the card. But yeah, I don't know. So Joey needs a challenge, though, because he's in there playing with guys. After that, did we have the two heavyweights, Banjo and Will Anderson? I'll tell you this, the Banjo guy looked slick. That guy had some good instincts. He was able to slip shots and bang right hands down the pipe. He was utilizing his jab. Both guys got tired, but listen, I've been there, and I thought he looked really, really good. I thought Will Anderson showed a lot of heart, but for the level that they're at, which is beginner level, Banjo is solid. Like, he's more dangerous than a lot of people will give him credit for in that debut. People say my debut was good or whatever. I disagree. His debut was fantastic, and he showed a lot more than I did. And I think he's got a lot more potential if he wants to keep doing it. So shouts to Banjo. Oh, next was the Survivor Tag, I think. Survivor Tag for the heavyweights. This was okay. It was a cool idea. You had Temple Arts, Tobes, Pritchard, and Godson. And the idea with this one being, you know, every time someone tagged out, if they tagged out again or if they tagged out twice, there was a point taken. And then, you know, obviously the rules that we had already discussed with Survivor Tag before. But Tempo Arts was my pick kind of going into this thing. He's my guy. I've been watching Tempo since he started doing it. My favorite influencer boxer, I once phrased Tempo Arts, and he's back. And he looked good. He was battering up pretty much everybody in there. I don't remember who he rocked. He rocked, I think it was Tobes right off the rip. And then something the Misfits did, I guess, after there was 5 rounds. After the 4th round, they started eliminating guys, which I thought was kind of cool. But the problem was it took forever for them to come up with a scorecard that made any sense. Like, they had the judges sitting there. It's almost like they forgot to tally the scores up until the point where they had to eliminate someone. That kind of made it a little bit of a mess just because you had the guys that were there fighting, not knowing who was going to be told they had to stop and who had to keep going. They were standing there for like a good 5 to 10 minutes and getting adrenaline dump, like ice cold. But at the end of it, Tempo Arts just ran away with this thing. I thought he won this pretty clearly going away. I thought the Pritchard kid showed heart because I didn't know who he was. I expected more from Godson, but Tempo Arts was the rightful winner. Also, Wakey Wines versus W.A.D.E might be one of the most embarrassing fights I think I've ever seen on Misfits or any other show, quite frankly. 1-minute rounds they went. For 5 rounds, which, you know, fair enough. They're completely out of shape, so you don't want to put them in there and have somebody have cardiac arrest. But why even do the fight? I don't know. It was just 2 dudes that were circling and then gassing from circling, and then there'd be like a flurry of punches for 10 seconds and nothing else. And, you know, it is what it is. You know, it was probably the lowest of low lights for Misfits on the night. Wakey Wines somehow wins the fight, although I don't, just because he was trying to press forward at some points, and I think maybe landed 1 more punch than W.A.D.E. But at the end of it, you know, Wakey Wines wins, okay, celebrates, and W.A.D.E. comes over and shoves him while his back is turned to him. Absolute pussy shit. Just get this guy off Misfits, dude. He sucks. He sucks. He doesn't box. He got more aggressive after the fight, like he was going to do something. He's not dangerous at all. Like, I don't know who these people think they are coming into Misfits and going out there and performing like that with 16-ounce gloves on in 1-minute rounds, and then when the fight's over, you want to have a push and a pull, as Carl Froch would say. Like, get the fuck out of here. Chase Deoor fought some guy they kept calling the Viking next, and this guy apparently was a decent enough MMA fighter that Chase was fighting this time around. They also said Chase had another fight booked later this week or next week sometime. Like, Chase is a fucking psycho. I love him to death, though. In the press conference, he was jumping over tables. He threw a bottle at Tempo Arts, hit him right in the eyeball. Chase tries, and he is one of the only guys that really tries. And I don't care if he still looks like Bambi on ice when he boxes a little bit, because he's getting it. He's starting to get better. And this fight showed a little bit of that. Early on, a little bit of trepidation because he gets dropped early, I think, in the 1st or 2nd round. And it looked like a little bit of a slip, but still Chase, you know, still has some of the same problems he's always had. He's such a big, tall guy that the way he evades punches is by sticking out his guard and really trying to frame, and his head goes straight up. And sometimes that's you know, a reason for an overhand to come right around the guard. And he got clipped with one, and I think he probably, you know, got his feet tangled up, and he fell down, and they called it a knockdown. So now you have some adversity, and Chase had to come back from it. And he did. He used his reach, which I loved, because, again, he's 6'5", 230, really, and I think even his reach is taller than he is, so sticking that jab in someone's face at heavyweight is going to be so crucial for him. He did that, and then he started throwing the right hands around the guard and the uppercuts underneath, and he was catching the guy with them, and finally clipped him with the right hand, and then he threw one of the best right hands I've ever seen from Chase Deoor, and one that went, oh, that's a right hand. That's a boxing right hand right there. But it knocked him out. He stopped him, and that's exactly what Chase needed. Now, I don't remember the post-fight interview or if they even gave Chase one, but I didn't hear him. But if it's me next, Misfits, do you go and have Tempo fight Chase again? Maybe. Do you have Chase go and fight a bigger name? Some of these MMA fighters that are gonna, come over, potential heavyweights, people from bare knuckle. He's gonna get social media interactions. I think the thing where he jumped over the table at Misfits did 2 million impressions on Instagram. The thing where he did the double arm punch on Josh Bruckner, it's probably done hundreds of millions of views. It may not even be a good thing for Chase, but he's gonna find a way to go viral. Whoever it is next, if it's Roman Fury, run it, because the press conferences would be awesome. John Fury would be there. Put it on the same card as a Tommy Fury potential Darren Till match we'll talk about in a second. And sign me up, because I will watch that every day of the week. I don't think I'm missing anyone, because next we had W.A.D.E Sharks and Fox the G. And I was a little nervous in this one because I don't think I've hit it much throughout my interactions with him. I'm a big fan of Fox, man. I love the kid. I think he is such a hard worker. And ever since, he started to gain traction in the influencer scene, he has had this goal of becoming an influencer boxer. He locked himself away and he's dedicated himself, and man, is it showing. This kid is a natural, but I almost feel like that's not even the right way to describe him, because you can see the hard work and the dedication he's put into boxing. He's in there with W.A.D.E Sharks, who is far more experienced than he is, and honestly should have won this fight for the level of experience, the golden gloves, all the stuff he's done. And Fox schooled him. I mean, I know people are going to say that's harsh or whatever. Fox outboxed him 3 out of the 4 rounds, and the 4th round was close. Like, the 4th round could have gone Fox's way as well, but I thought it was a boxing display. Did Fox hurt him with anything? Was W.A.D.E rocked at any point? No. But look at the two of them. Fox isn't a massive guy. He's not super muscle bound like that. Maybe he'll grow into it, maybe not, but not every boxer is a knockout puncher. What we can't stand in boxing is when people refuse to fight and fight on the back foot without engaging and just use a jab in their feet. Fox didn't do that. He brought the fight to him. He was bringing him combinations early in the first. While he was walking forward with a high guard, Fox was going right hand to the body, left hook. This was an eye-opener. Like, oh shit, he's not just at that kind of mid-tier level. This motherfucker is going to be nasty. As far as what they do with him next, I have no idea. They already did the tournament, I think. Tournament's already over. Cray won, so Cray's supposed to fight Deen the Great. Who do you have Fox fight in the meantime? Like I said, there's my guy Joey Knight there. That potentially could be something, because Joey lost to Cray. Fox just beat W.A.D.E, so if Deen is not available, maybe you do that, or Argentinian King, or any of these guys. And Fox, I think he's ready for it. I wouldn't have said maybe before the W.A.D.E fight that I don't know. I don't think he is. Maybe he's not. He absolutely is. He was so impressive to me tonight. So yes, I'm a little biased, but fair play to Fox. Great job. Well done, my man. Then we had the co-main event. This one was very emotionally charged for a lot of people, especially after the press conference, but I didn't get to address because the video never came out. But yes, I saw the comments that Idris Virgo made, and while I didn't know the entire situation behind Ty Mitchell, I'll say this. Number one, my personal interactions with Ty Mitchell, he is just a lovely, lovely person, a gentleman, very respectful, and just someone that you can see has a humbleness to him that you wouldn't even expect him to be as good as he is as a boxer unless you knew who he was, because you look at his record and he's 4-2, and you don't really know too much about him other than that. And then obviously we talk about the situation with him, going to prison and essentially killing someone in a street fight. I mean, say that's what it is. That's what happened. It's not obviously his intention to do that, but that's the risk you take when you start to throw punches and engage in combat in the street. And unfortunately, someone's life was taken that night, and it was at the hands of Ty, and he did time for it. And that's a really, really hard thing to really conceptualize, and with a microphone in my hand, because I can't even imagine the grief, the regret, all of the emotions from Ty, from that individual's family, everybody involved. And it's just a horrible, horrible situation that I'm sure Ty will always regret, always. And, him doing his time, and now he's out. The way Idris handled that press conference to me was very much grandstanding, very much like, let me try to moral high ground you in a moment where you can't really say anything to either defend yourself or to make this go away because it's already happened, right? Like Idris was saying, oh, he doesn't deserve this fight. He shouldn't even be here. You don't deserve this opportunity. You shouldn't even be here. Whilst also signing to fight Ty Mitchell. Like that was the big thing for me. It was I don't want to say hypocritical, but it was just an odd thing for Idris to be taking that moment to, if Idris has a big, frustration with Ty Mitchell getting any sort of attention because of the things he's done in his past, that's one thing. But to then sign to fight him and then chastise him for the opportunity he shouldn't have got because you allowed him to fight you on this card, it just didn't make any sense. And it felt like Idris was just trying to get one up on Ty and trying to cause a little bit of controversy using something that's pretty impactful in his life. And I don't like that. It's the fight game. Everybody can say whatever. People are going to go and take low blows. Jake Paul just brought up Chavez Jr.'s drug addiction. It's the game. But I just thought that was very self-centered of Idris to do. And, regardless of his feelings behind it, if he didn't want Ty to fight on the card, he shouldn't have signed to fight him. But anyway, obviously that made this a lot more emotionally charged. And, outside of those comments from Idris, there are a lot of people in this scene that want to see Idris lose because of the way he talks and what he says about who the fighters are he can beat. And, people are bums and this and that, and he's the champ, and he's going to beat this pro and that pro, then this influencer and that influencer while being a pro, and all of this stuff. You knew that this was going to be a barn burner, or at least you thought this was going to be a good fight. And here's the shocking part. It just wasn't. Now, if I said a 16-0 guy fought a guy that was 4-2, and it wasn't a good fight, and the guy got completely blown out, shut down, and absolutely dominated, you would think I was talking about the 16-0 guy. Turns out, Ty Mitchell's a little better than 4-2. He absolutely pieced up Idris Virgo in this fight. I'm talking pieced him. 3-piece comboed. Multiple times. He couldn't miss with his left hand. The jab was so fast. His feet were insane. And Idris did not have anything for him. It felt like, Ty is a very tall guy for light heavyweight. He's like my height, 6'3". It felt like Idris could never get to him. He was trying to get to Ty Mitchell's body. He was trying to rip to the ribs and everything else, and he just couldn't touch him. And then it was like Idris started to look like an amateur because of what Ty was doing. It started to look like Idris wasn't even a pro boxer because he couldn't land a jab on him. So he just went away from the jab, started landing those lunging right hands. And honestly, it became like a just trying to make this fight ugly type of fight. And that just wasn't enough tonight, And for all the talks about coaches in this scene, and shoot fighters included, like everybody wants to be the best coach. And I know that shoot fighters and Leon went back and forth. So I'm sure, by the way, because of Leon and Vidal Riley's relationship with Idris, and Idris, again, he kind of brought it on himself by talking trash to both of them as well. And I think he even said he'd smoke Vidal and all this. They're going to have a blast on Real and Wills, so I'm going to plug them. Make sure you guys go and watch that channel this week. I cannot wait for that next episode. But I'm not going to sit here and bury Idris while he's on the ground. Like, everybody loses. And today was just Ty Mitchell's day, and he just, like I said, he just pieced him up. He won this fight going away from pillar to post. Idris had no answer for him, but I have a feeling the internet this week is going to have a field day with Idris Virgo, and maybe rightfully, wrongfully so, I don't know, but I'm just thinking about that Real and Wills episode. Main event time. This is where I wanted you guys to keep your eyes because of the prize potentially at the end of it. Darren Till versus Darren Stewart. Very respectful build. 2 MMA fighters, 2 UFC fighters. Darren Till, obviously the higher level UFC fighter, now in boxing, and this fight started, and Darren Till picked up where he left off in the Anthony Taylor fight. Could not miss with the left hand. Even dropped Darren Stewart in the first round with his left hand. Fucking nasty around the guard. Bang! Right on the chin. I was like, oh, buddy, this is going to get ugly quick. And while it did get ugly, and Darren Till kept having success in the first couple of rounds, it was like he could not miss with his backhand, with his jab. He was throwing it around the guard. He was throwing it down the middle. He had every opening. But Darren Stewart started to hang in there, and he started to bite down on that mouthpiece, and he started to take a lot more of those shots that hurt him early on and just walk through them. And then he was starting to have success on offense, and he was starting to push Darren Till back and bloody Darren Till's nose. And I went, oh, hold on a second. This would put a wrench in everybody's plans at Misfits and elsewhere, because you need a superstar outside of KSI, and Darren Till can be that, but he's got to win. And the momentum was starting to kind of flip, and then Darren Till would take it back over, and then the momentum would flip, and Darren Till would take it, and it became a back and forth fight until they get to the 8th round, and it's another round where Darren Stewart's having success, and Till's gas tank is a little, you know, not quite where it needs to be over 8 rounds, and Stewart's walking through punches, and now here comes Till, and he's coming back to land his combinations, and Till is landing the more devastating punches, but still, they're both throwing heavy leather. And then with about 10 seconds left, Stewart blitzes at Till, and Till kind of olays him, throws him into the ropes, kind of. Steps back, Stewart gets his head out of the ropes, and a fucking nasty left hand right down the pipe drops Darren Stewart at the buzzer. He answers the standing 8 count. The fight is over, but not because Till stopped Stewart, but because time ran out. But holy cow, he almost had a walk-off KO. And the scorecards might have reflected this. Darren Till won this fight 77-73. That knockdown was probably a big part of that right at the end of the buzzer there. This was a tough fight for Till, but one that he got out of the way. And then on the mic, he called out KSI. Well, first he said Tommy Fury's fighting for $20,000 over in, I think he said Belarus, but it was actually Budapest, with John piping off at the mouth, talking about how it was the greatest experience. They got paid $20K. I don't know how real that is, but Darren was just, you know, pulling his leg. Then he called out KSI, and KSI, you could see him mouth, "I need to fix my hand first." That is going to be very interesting. I don't know that KSI will take that fight. Honestly, I don't know if anybody wants to fight Darren Till right now because he's a dog. Called out Jake Paul, called out Logan Paul, and then gave his respect to KSI. And listen, Misfits has to know they got a thoroughbred there with Darren Till, and people are going to try to avoid him like the plague. But the move for me, now that Darren Till won, you don't take chances in boxing. You can't. You've seen what happens. You see when you try to plan for the future and things don't work out. You do it right now. And for Darren Till, it needs to be Tommy Fury next. I'm pretty sure they have some sort of thing where Tommy has to fight on his own again. I think. I don't know legal situation, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. They need to get him on a card. Chase, Roman Fury in the co-main, Darren and Tommy in the main. Because that is the fight if you're Misfits. If you're waiting for KSI to heal his hand up and he's going to take, 6 weeks, they're saying 6 months now, who knows? You make Darren Till versus Tommy Fury, and that is how you keep influencer crossover boxing going without KSI's name. So you got to find somebody in the meantime. And Darren Till can absolutely be that guy. He is perfect for Misfits. He can turn around and fight. He always wants to fight. And the more he gets experience in this boxing shit, the better and better and better he's going to get. His hands are already crisp, but now just making it so boxing centric is going to be perfect. And last thing for me, I saw rumors online, because I didn't see this because I was gone. There were hints at my name coming back to Misfits very soon. I'll tell you guys this, no one speaks for me. And if we learned anything from the last time, when people try to call me out and call their shot, it ends badly for them. So let me figure out what I'm doing. Got a lot of things orbiting over the potential opportunities for your boy. And then when I'm good and ready, I'll let you guys know first and them second, because let's be honest, they'll always play catch up. And you guys deserve answers before anybody else. So, with that being said, yeah, man, there's a lot coming down the line for me. And obviously, on another track separately, there's a lot coming for Misfits. What that means and where we go from here in crossover boxing and me covering more pro boxing and everything that comes in between with the Ring magazine, I don't have those answers, but I guess we'll find out.